Welcome everyone to episode 1 of the Trailcast. I'm your host Sandy Plenty, and today we have a rather special guest. But before we get into that, I just want to say thank you to all the listeners for their patience. I've been banging on about this for, at least 5 years. I haven't really had the bandwidth to do it, but here we are. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Dan Critchlow. Welcome, DC. How's it going?
Easy, brother. Yeah, good. How are you doing?
Yeah, not bad. We're here. We made it.
Yeah.
Got our waters. We did a bit of voice coaching before. We're good to go.
We did.
Let's get straight into it. Now, I know most of the listeners know that you're the main man behind Burgtec, or one of the main men at least.
One of.
Of course. I really want to get into it, but first, can we wind the clocks back a little bit? And let's just talk about how it all started for you. Tell me when you got into mountain biking.
I got into mountain biking when I was probably 10 or 11, that sort of age. Few lads in the village where I lived, we'd go riding, and that was it really. I can remember one distinct day we went off on a big mission, went to some little hills nearby, just rode around those.
Whereabouts?
It's a little place called Brown Edge, what was like close to the little village Biddlesmore where we lived, and we went there. There was like these bomb holes, and it was like an old quarry, so it had a few features, and we just rode there, all got flat tyres, had to push our bikes home, and that was it. That was the love affair with bikes started from there.
What sort of year we're talking?
Probably 95.
Oh, nice.
1995.
Late to the party then.
Yeah.
Good work. So, not necessarily the first bike, but what was the first bike where you thought like, holy shit, this is, I'm on it now?
Oh, I had a polished GT Zaska, 96 GT Zaska. I saved up for the frame. I saved up some rigid forks. I built it around Christmas. That was the ultimate bike to me then.
On rigids?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't afford any suspension forks, so it was rigid.
I remember Cunny had one, and he had some Judy DHs on it.
Nice.
What year was you?
DHs, Judy DH, I think it was like 96.
Yeah, thought so. So you're on your Zaskar, thrashing around the local woods. Did you think, I'm going to enter a race?
I guess I must have, because pretty soon after getting that bike, I wanted to do a race. So I was kind of flicking through the back of MBUK where all the race dates would be, and blagging my parents to take me to the closest one, which was an XC race at Cannock Chase. So me and Dad pitch up one Sunday morning to this XC race. Dad was late, classic him. we get to the field, roll in on in his tranny van, and I see my category just boom out the start. So that was it. My race was done. Like, it had gone.
What'd you do? Whip the bike out and just catch him? Or?
Nah, it was on to the next category. So we watched some of the locals race, and then that was that. So then it was home, back in the back of MBUK. What's the next race? Right, downhill race in North Wales somewhere. Told Dad, come on, we can go to that. He's like, yeah, okay. So it was more me anyway, the downhill race. We went to that. That was awesome. It was in
Nannock?
Betsycoed. It was a place called Clanroost.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Know it well?
Yeah.
Sick.
So we turned up there. I had like Lycra leggings on. Dad lent me his, it was a winter sort of spring race. Dad lent me his spray away fleece. So I had these Lycra leggings on that had loads of patches in that my mum and my nan had stitched up on the knees. This big massive Dad's fleece, so I looked like Big Bird or like an emu or whatever. These pictures of me, it was cool. So that was the first race, yeah.
Yeah, so just remind us the year again, 90?
That was probably 96, 97.
96,
I was probably
97.
15 or 16, yeah.
Cool. So what was it that really got you hooked? Was that an XC race?
That was a DH race.
That was DH. So at what point did you think, right, I'm a downhill racer? And why? Like, was it the speed? There's quite a lot of social aspect, isn't there, to downhill, or there was then anyway.
Yeah.
What was it that really got you hooked?
Everything I was seeing, like you say, the speed, the social aspect, getting better at riding, competition too, and also just always reading the magazines. I hung off every word in the magazines. I would just be reading magazines or watching videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, constantly just bikes.
That's a really good point, actually, because you said it earlier on, that you looked in the back of MBUK to find out when the next race was.
Yeah.
Well, now we go online or we find the race organiser's website. It was mad then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You had to buy the magazines in order to keep up with what was going on.
Yeah.
Super cool. So we've covered the first race. You're on the GT. Things started to ramp up a little bit then, did they? You started to sort of... When did you get your first full suspension bike?
I had a GT LTS. That was my first full suspension bike. That was cool. Had that, did some more races, and I had kind of a really hard crop of juniors. Mm-hmm. The juniors that I raced against, it's always competitive, of course it is, but the juniors I raced against, a lot of them went on to be pros, so we had really tough juniors. So I kind of...
Hang on a sec, so did you? You became a pro?
Yeah, not a paid pro, but yeah, I had an elite license, let's say, yeah. But those guys, they did it for a job,
Yeah.
Jarman, Cheetham, Donny, all those guys, they...
So was that the class of 97, 98?
That was, yeah, that was the class of, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Well, that's some serious operators in there.
Yeah, they were doing World Cups as juniors, so they were flying.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Fair play. Well, I first remember you more the Yeti era. So I've done a bit of digging, and I think it went under it was Yeti Europe, right?
Yeah.
So who ran that team?
Cole Williams ran the team.
Cole, yeah. Shout out to Cole. He's working at Restrap now, which is cool. So that was Yeti bikes from the States or from the UK importer, or
from the UK importer. Yeah, I think we got a bit of help from the States, but yeah, it was all through Bromley Bike, the
Bromley
Yeti
Bikes,
importer
yeah.
at the time. Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah.
So I remember there was a lot of shenanigans around those years, and you were in the thick of it.
Hell yeah.
And so I dropped one of our mutual friends a line today, Johnny Cheetham. And I said, look, have we got a story on DC, please? And the first three stories he told me, I just can't repeat. So the fourth one, which is really good, I'm going to sort of tell you a little bit about it, and you can jump in. So I'm reading this out. So this is how it went, apparently. You, Marples, Johnny, Billy, and Mr. C in the van on the way to Vigo.
Yes.
You're almost at the apartment, wherever you're staying, pre-Airbnb, wherever you're staying, and you just needed to check directions. So you thought, I'm going to pull over here in the van. Mr. C pulls over, and it wasn't like a pull-in parking space. It's actually a bus stop. You pull the side door open on the van, and there's some guy there, late 20s, and I think he thought he was going to get a bus, but next thing a minute, he's in the back of your van, doors shut, and he's half an hour away, and you're driving into his house, and Marples was kind of, what happened?
That's pretty much it, yeah. He gave us some directions that we're on his way to his house, and we just gave him a lift, yeah. Didn't speak any English. Probably good thing.
I can't believe, poor bloke was, and his name was Pepe.
Pepe, that's it. I was trying to think of his name, yeah. Pepe.
Did you qualify for that World Cup?
I qualified for one in Vigo and not the other. So yeah, I think I did qualify at that one, yeah.
The other stories involved fire extinguishers and other stuff, yeah. So this leads us nicely on to our first segment of the podcast called Roots and Rain. Those of you who don't know what Roots and Rain is, it's an awesome website created by Seb. And it's just an amazing platform to compare your times against other people's. It's like a diary of your races, isn't it? So I've got it up here on screen. Some of your races.
Cool.
There's one thing that stands out though that I want to talk about. So I can see all your teams here. You're on Cycle Centre RT, Leisure Lakes, Yeti. But this team here, so 1998, 4th of July, RAV4 at Eastridge.
Nice, yeah.
Keeping it local.
Yeah.
Your team name was Bucking Fastard.
Yeah. A few of us put that as our team name, and the commentator would always say it wrong.
Excellent.
Simple as that.
Just about says a lot about your comedy. So yeah, we can see you ride for Leisure Lakes there. Moves on up into Yeti, which we just spoke about.
Yeah.
Before we get on to the Roots and Rain segment, which is basically me comparing my times to you, and we can have a laugh at my times, let's look at some of the teams you rode for. So Yeti Europe, and then we start to see CRC Intense. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. Paige, who runs the team, who ran the team, he said to me, if ever I want to run a team one day, if I get it going, I'll want you to ride for the team. I was like, cool. So yeah, he came through with his word, and yeah, rode for the team for 2 years. Got to ride with some awesome riders.
Who were your teammates then? Joe Smith?
No, it was kind of before. It was when the team first started. So
Okay.
it was Matt Simmons, Kavarik, Claire Butcher, Rory. Yeah, so
Nice.
and Julian Camellini as well.
Camellini,
Yeah. Dave Garland was on the tools, spinning the spanners, and
Nice.
tuning the suspension. Yeah, it was really good. Good times they were.
Were you, I mean, you don't have to answer this, but were you getting paid?
No,
Expenses?
a bit of that. It just help off Pagey. Yeah.
I remember seeing you at, I think it was Llangollen in the field, and like you were in all the kit. I was like, bloody hell, she's gone up in the world. Look good. So CRC Intense, you were getting bikes off Intense, were you?
Yes.
Yeah. And then it says GT.
Me and Bullhead started a team. Bullhead was on GT, and he said, let's do a team, me and you. So yeah, he was on GT. He brought that on. I brought Burgtec on, obviously, and yeah, we did that for one season.
Yeah, because then it goes back to CRC Intense.
Yeah. CRC Intense was 08 and 09. I think GT was before that, actually. Yeah. Yeah, the GT year was a bit of a
My
disaster, to be honest. The
Yeah,
GT, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Move on. So, yeah, your best World Cup result. Let me see if I can work it out. Can you tell me quicker?
Like maybe high 30s or low 40s.
Nice. Where was it?
Fort William was a decent one. Yeah, Fort William was a good one. Maybe Schladming was a decent one.
Yeah, fair play. Right, let's type me in and have a laugh. So, me versus Dan Critchlow. 4th of July, 1998, at Eastridge. Home advantage for me.
Was that a RAV4?
Yeah, RAV4.
Okay.
So those of you,
Was it a national champs or was it just around?
it just says number 4.
That was just
Eastridge.
around, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can remember that massive jump in the field.
Huge. Double.
Yeah.
And they had a dual slalom as well. Oh, or a dual, not dual
Dual.
slalom. Yeah.
That,
I did the dual, actually.
did you?
Yeah, I did the dual. That was on telly. That was televised.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who were you gated with?
Oh, I can't remember. I think I got through one round and then I went out in the second round.
I can remember coming to
It was
see
like moguls at the top and then the big double where everyone kind of congregated. It was good. It was definitely a vibe. It was good.
Yeah. Yeah, that jump was way above my pay grade. And that's the closest. Oh, no. I was a 318 and you were a. No, I was a 339 and you were a 318. So you toasted me there. But the next month in Bridgewood, you must have fell off because I was on a 157, you were on a 153. So that's the closest I've ever got. And the worst.
That was the old side of Bridgewood. You know the other side? Guys, just when you said 1 minute, Bridgewood's much longer, isn't it? Now the side that we race now. That's the old side, the really short side that was like a bobsleigh track.
Yeah, I remember.
That finished on a dual track, grass field.
Like a rut.
Yeah. That was a rad track.
Oh, yeah, it came down the...
the back side of Bridgewood.
Yeah.
Crumpy and people were there. I can remember seeing him. He was...
in a GT
he was
skin
flying
suit.
then. Yeah.
And Hughesy.
Hughesy, yeah.
Yeah, good times. And then you put nearly 45 seconds into me down Fort William in 2012. Don't remember getting a puncher, but... Anyway, yeah, good. Let's move on from that. Right, so at what point did you think, okay, I'm done with racing nationals, I'm done with racing World Cup? What point do you think, right, okay, I'm gonna sort of focused perhaps on business a bit more and less racing. What kind of year was that?
That was probably about 10 years ago, I think. Racing is kind of, your life gets full of other stuff, family, work, and also you don't have the time to dedicate to riding as much, or you know, training to race, probably more. And yeah, then I got made redundant from the job I was doing, and then we just like full gas on Burgtec for the last 9 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the last team you were on was CRC Intense.
Yeah, I had after that. Yeah, the last team, and then years past that, I just know a few people in the industry, get a bit of help here and there, and just pull it all together myself.
Yeah, Santa Cruz have helped you out.
Yeah, Santa Cruz helped me out.
Yeah, cool. So that explains that. Then I guess this is my perspective from the outside looking in. I felt like you had a second chapter within the World Cup scene, which was Josh Bryceland's personal trainer. Is that the right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Absolutely awesome to see and a great lad. What about? I've got notes here just to talk about the World Champs in 2014. That was in Harfiel, yeah. That must have been heartbreaking.
Yeah, brutal. Yeah. Yeah, he broke all the bones in his midfoot, for people who don't know. So everything from all your metatarsals, everything just broken completely. On for the win, up at the split, the usual story, and then landed, went to the moon, and landed, and broke his foot, and that was
0.4 he missed it on.
Yeah.
I can tell that's still a tough one to even think
hard.
about. Yeah,
but the comeback was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the comeback story is that he broke his foot in I guess it was in the September Worlds, and then the rehab, the healing, the ops, everything, and then on New Year's Day, the next New Year's Day, we went for a ride. That was always our thing. Like, we'd go for a ride on New Year's Day, no matter what. Like, blow the cobwebs off the hangover or whatever. So we went for a ride on that day.
Up the Roaches?
Pardon?
Up the Roaches?
I think it was actually where, up the
Peak District?
Yeah, in the Peaks. Lime Park, like the back of there, where Josh had his Enduro this year. We rode up there, and then back training, back at it, building up. Did well, bounced back. I think it was Lords was the first round. He got kind of a single figure there, and then was just on the comeback. He had his massive hair, if you remember.
Yeah.
He had really long hair.
Coming out the back of the lid.
Yeah. And then he won Mont Saint Anne that year, which to win Mont Saint Anne, I think, is like the ultimate Ironman race to win. Me personally, if I could win one race, it would be Mont Saint Anne.
Would it?
Yeah.
That's good.
100%, yeah.
Because of the length of the track, or the...
You just got to be the complete package. It's fast, it's technical, there's big jumps, it's slippy. Yeah, it's the ultimate track to me, probably. Yeah.
There's some good footage that Alex Rankin's been putting out recently from Sprung of Minar on the global orange.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Hauling.
Yeah. Yeah, Mont Saint Anne was just, I guess, for me growing up watching the races, Mont Saint Anne was always the iconic venue.
And did you race that?
Yeah, we raced there probably 3 or 4 times.
That's cool.
Maybe 5 times, actually. I mean, if it was on and I had UCI points, I was going, because I just loved it there. It was so good.
The travel aspect.
Travel aspect was cool, and the track was cool, and it was just iconic venue.
Yeah, super cool. So when Josh isn't retired, he's still making great content, he's still racing, but when Josh kind of decided the World Cup circuit wasn't for him, is that when you stopped training?
Yeah, well, he stopped training at that point, yeah.
But you didn't train any other riders?
Yeah, I did. I helped Sam Dale for a couple of seasons.
Okay.
Yeah. But then, after Sam Dale, that was it. Just fizzled out, and kind of that was probably about 8 years ago. 7 years ago with Sam. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's enough kind of back in the day stuff. Let's bring it up to date a little bit more and talk about Burgtec. Now, am I right in saying Burgtec was founded in 2005?
2004. 21 this year.
21. So how did this all come about? And tell me about the name.
One of the founders' names.
Okay.
Yeah, and we just decided to go for that. We were just pedaling up a fire road one day to go riding, and we were like, the pedals we were using at the time weren't very good, and we just kind of said we could do it better, and just
That was my next question. So pedals were the
pedals. The Mark 1 pedal was the first product.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I can remember around 2004 being at the pits in a Leithen National, and you guys, or perhaps it was Berg, selling 510s.
Yes.
And I'd never seen anything like it. It was looked like a, I don't know what it looked like, but it was a big clumpy shoe.
Yeah. Not the best looking shoe, but the rubber and the grip was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And everybody had them. It was the go-to thing that year.
Because Intense had the license to start with.
Intense did the shoes first.
Yeah.
And they actually looked okay. They didn't look too clumpy. They looked all right. And then 510 made theirs, and they looked really chunky and like wellies.
So it started then. And what are you going to say was your very first product? It was
the Mark 1 pedal.
The Mark 1 pedal.
Yeah, we made 50 pairs of the Mark 1 pedal, sold them to friends, people we knew at the races. Literally, we knew everybody that had bought a product.
50.
If we sold 50 pairs, yeah.
Have you got any of them back?
I've got a set in the garage. We've got some. Yeah, we've got our original ones.
Cool.
Yeah, so we sold.
Really cool.
So we sold them to the people. So you have that connection with people. Like you see people on the product now, and you feel like you know them because that was always how it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could almost name everyone in the paddock that was
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And did Nathan Rennie run them?
Yeah, we sponsored a team he was on in. He had the Mark IIs. We sponsored a Moorwood team that he was riding for when he stopped riding for the Syndicate. He had kind of the twilight of his career on Moorwood for a year or two, and we sponsored the team. Yeah, and he rode them. Yeah.
Yeah. Did he break them?
Nope.
Did you have to pay him?
Yeah, we paid the team a little bit. I think. Yeah.
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 That's a big deal when you first have to pay someone.
Yeah, and we always wanted to sponsor the best people we could, because like to have our heroes riding the product was amazing. That was brilliant. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, just to see someone you've almost looked up to. Yeah, I get that. One thing I wanted to point out, I made a note of this today, was often on your Instagram, I'll see the Burgtec family, I call it, the Burgtec crew. You're always riding together, and that's super cool. Like, as a business owner, I see huge value in this. Can you explain why this is such a core part of kind of Burgtec's business ethos almost?
It's just who we are. Yeah. I think everybody at work rides, still can't ride enough. It's just absolutely key to us being happy at work, and that's why we do what we do ultimately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to hang out together and
hanging out together, riding bikes together. You know, we were out yesterday. We can always find a couple of hours at dinner time to go for a ride.
Yeah, and what's really nice is as well, like we had our demo day last year. You guys came, well, it was Tom actually, and he set everything up, set the van up, was there till the end, packed down, helped us pack down. If someone said, oh, he was the owner of Burgtec, you'd believe it. Like, he's really into it, and that was good to see.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Tom, if you get a pay rise, thank me.
All the staff are like that. All the staff are super committed, super passionate. You know, people think we're a massive company. We are 12 people.
Really?
12 people.
Just 12?
Just 12. Yeah, a couple of colleagues in Asia, but essentially 12 people, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So everyone at work really puts in a shift, so yeah.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we know, and we've just acknowledged that you've come a long way. It's good to see how the range has expanded. And you have gained quite a few OE kind of bike brand partners. So, you know, that means bikes, when they turn up, they've got a Burgtec bar or stem, or I've seen some more axles on some different brands. So how big a deal is that for you, and how long did that take to almost get these brands? I mean, everyone's known you, but there's trust and the price, and, you know.
All of that, really. It was just, I heard no a lot of times, but just kept going, and eventually we got some orders, and it just took off from there, basically, yeah.
So who are you, OE? Can we say that?
Yeah. Santa Cruz, Forbidden, Yeti, Commensal, Transition.
Wow.
Score.
Oh, didn't know you were on Yeti. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so this leads into a couple of questions now. If you could choose either like a mod or a product or a quick fix from another brand, like another brand doing a similar thing, what stands out?
Little products that kind of make my life easier or that
Yeah.
type of thing. Probably like reserve valves.
Okay.
Just a little mod. I've had like the ones on my bike for 2 years probably, and they never clog. You never bend them over. They never leak. It's just a really sweet little product. Yeah. So
And they're
probably
different. You undo the valve
undo the
cap
top,
and then
yeah.
you can push
Yeah.
the top. Yeah, so
Yeah,
they
yeah.
don't clog. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so big up reserve for that. What, you're going to blow your own trumpet now, but Burgtec, what have
Yeah.
you got that's good for problem solving?
I think contact points probably. So pedals, obviously, grips, bars. There's a lot to be gained. You don't have to spend the earth on pedals. You could get some second-hand ones, rebuild them if you wanted from us.
Yeah.
The product lasts. So that, or grips is an instant probably win.
Yeah.
Or a common mod at the moment is taller front end. Everyone seems to want higher bars. We're selling a lot of higher bars.
The Bryceland.
Yeah,
ride
Josh's
high.
bars. Yeah.
So what sizes do they come in? 35 and 50?
50.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
50's actually overtaken the 38s now.
Yeah, we see that here actually.
Yeah.
We've sold a lot
Yeah.
of 50s. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. So, leading on to, what's your best selling product?
Mark 5 pedal, I would say.
Okay, so these ones here, yeah.
Yeah.
Mark 5 pedal. They've come a long way from my Mark 2s there. Check them bad boys
Mark
out.
3.
Mark 3?
Yeah, Mark 3, yeah.
Oh, you told me they were Mark 2.
Sorry.
They got tie axles for
Yeah,
those who get geeky, and they're still a good pedal. Every now and then they have to go on to.
We still do the service kits if you need them servicing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
probably need some actually.
Leave them with me.
Okay, brilliant. So Peds is the best seller. What I always still think of, if I think Burgtec and I think back to those early days, 06, 07, 08, I often think of the handlebar as well. I remember seeing Albond and Gazaby. I think it was Ridderfelin. Like, how are they going to get through those trees?
Yeah.
It's just, people weren't cutting them down either. It's mental.
Cut trees, not bars.
That's the way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what were they, 800 then?
800 then, yeah. They started at 760,
Which was big.
which was big. Then they went up to 780 and then 800, and that's what they are now. Still.
Yeah, okay. So when did they go 800?
Oh, they've been 800 for a long time. 6-7 years ago, probably. Longer, maybe.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so you are the self-proclaimed potion master at Burgtec.
Mm-hmm.
So I take that as you're the man that comes up with the ideas and the new products.
A little bit, yeah.
Talk me through, let's just say DC's out on a ride. Oh, shit, we need to make that. How do you get that from an idea in your brain to a finished product in packaging?
Easy, just pen and paper.
Easy.
Yeah, easy. Pen and paper, just draw it out or think about it in my mind, talk to our engineer, and just back and forth it a bit. And yeah, we can usually make it happen. Yeah.
Have you had the same engineer for a long time?
We've had the same engineer since we started, really. So yeah, he's been with us. He's full-time now. He wasn't always full-time.
Okay.
So he's been with us, 20 years he's been doing work for us.
So you've got a great relationship, I presume, where he understands what's coming out of your brain and can make it real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Everyone needs.
It's so intuitive, yeah. We don't have to. There's certain things we just don't have to say now. It's just intuitive. It's just
Look at each other. And
yeah.
He knows.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
He's a mind reader.
Is he?
Yeah.
Needs to be.
He does.
So, 21 years you just said of Burgtec.
Yeah.
What's happening in the next 20 years? What can we expect?
More of the same, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, more of the same. Steady growth. Not getting too crazy big. Just a bit more of the same. More riding bikes. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Good. Any new products you can allude to?
Yeah. We're always kind of growing the axle range that we do. That's ever expanding. New bikes come out, different widths, different standards, that sort of stuff. So we're behind the curve on that. So we have to kind of hop to that pretty quick. So that, and just actually at the moment working on a DH saddle. That's something I'm working on.
Okay. What's a DH saddle look like?
It's like a lot of the teams now are all pushing to a shorter saddle, basically.
Yep.
So it's much shorter, nice and narrow, so that it's like you can move it around between your legs. Yeah, so working on that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
This is a big question now. This is probably the biggest one of the podcast so far. So how are we going to make downhill great again, in your opinion?
Downhill is great.
We know that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of
Downhill is great. Let's get that clear.
yeah.
That's why we're here. We love it. But, okay, downhill's getting a bit of flack from an organisational standpoint recently. You know, what's your take on that? And let's talk about perhaps subscription things and race weekend format.
Rule changes and stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess winding the clock right back, when I first started watching the World Cups, it was on Eurosport, so your parents had to have Sky, so you were paying 30 quid a month then to watch it. Mm-hmm. Then we kind of went into downhill kind of went away from the TV.
Was that the Grundig days?
Yeah, and then downhill kind of went away from TV and onto Freecaster on the internet. Mm-hmm. Rob Warner became the voice of downhill. Mm-hmm. Will Ockleton trying to rein him in.
Yep.
That, and then after that it was Red Bull, and it was free on Red Bull TV. Mm-hmm. And then now it's Warner Brothers, and now it's the bigger Warner Brothers subscription costs.
Yeah. Which is, that's what I'm hearing at the minute. It's the bit of kickback on that.
There's a lot of kickback from that. I mean, last year it was, 10 quid a month to watch the races, mm-hmm. which for me personally, that's really good value.
Yeah, I agree.
I watch junior men, junior women, elite men, elite women. Every weekend I'd watch that. I'd watch probably the best runs from each category again in the week. Then I'd probably watch it a couple of times in the winter. So that was like good value. I couldn't complain at that.
No.
I couldn't complain at that. Now it's kind of gone to this 30 quid a month.
Sure.
People are losing their mind about it.
They are.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, for me, I think people could you've got to think outside of the box. So, in fact, there's always a way. So you could club together with your friends. You could, mm-hmm. We could all come to your house and watch it. We'll all pitch in on the cost. You've got a big telly. We'll come around yours and watch it. It's a proper vibe. We're all watching it together. That's cool, watching the World Cups with your mates. That's brilliant.
Get some pizza.
Yeah, get some pizza and just watch it. That's awesome.
Sounds good.
Everyone's kind of, me, it's going to cost me 30 quid. Well, just club together with some mates, and mm-hmm. that's even better.
Yeah, we were thinking of doing a showing here, actually.
Yeah.
Have a place for people to come and watch. I think as well, something that we spoke about, off camera was these races don't put themselves on. You know, it costs so much money.
Oh, yeah.
Like at Andorra World Champs, which we were both at last year, I think there's 3 or 4 bridges over the track, whether it was short course or downhill. You know, they don't just put themselves out. That costs money. And Red Bull did do a very good job before, but, you know, they weren't paying necessarily. They were just streaming it. So I don't think they were contributing to the UCI race series. We're not going to get into that too much, but it's a shock for people to go from it being really good and free to now 30.
Yeah. And obviously everyone, the big uproar was no Warner. Like we just had Hardline, didn't we? Mm-hmm. And it's Warner and Elliott back in the booth again, and they are awesome. Like Warner's brilliant.
Yeah.
Elliott's analysis and stuff, amazing.
Second to none.
Yeah, second to none. Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, whilst we're on the subject of kind of racing, can we get your hot takes on riders about to have a breakout year? So, I'm not going to let you say Jackson Goldstone because that's obvious. I think he's already broke out. So who do we need to, if we were betting, who do we need to keep an eye on?
I think in the junior men's, obviously that's been an Acer and Max Alran battle. Them two have dominated that. Mm-hmm. I think someone who was injured at the start of last year and didn't really get the ball rolling, you've kind of got to get through the first races, get the ball rolling, work out the schedule and stuff like that. I feel like someone like Tyler Waite, he's probably one of the top juniors. I think he's going to become one of the top juniors this year for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, the guy that rides for Yeti, yeah. 100%. So he's for him. Junior girls, the girl that came second, Ella, who's on Trek this year, she was second at Worlds last year. Trek signed her, who we sponsor, which is
I was
awesome.
going to say, yeah.
Yeah, so I think she's hardly done any racing. Like, you look her up on Roots and Rain, she's done about 6-7 races.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and she got second at Worlds, so I think she's a big prospect for the future.
Oh, wow. She's not even got going yet.
Yeah, exactly. She's not even hit a stride. Elite men, probably someone like, Ollie Davis is kind of a rider's rider. Everyone knows him.
Mm-hmm. He's there, though.
He's there. And, like, if you look at his junior results, and I think he's probably...
Got more in the tank.
If you know, you know. Yeah, he's got more in the tank, and he's just been on a good curve. So I think he'll... Obviously, he smashed himself up at Hardline, didn't he? Broke his sternum and collarbone. So he's healing from that. But I think when he gets back, he'll be... He'll be good this season.
I think Ronan as well, although he's there, I think there's more to come from Ronan Dunn.
Yeah, I think he's pretty injured, I think, by all accounts, isn't he?
Yeah. But okay, when
he's back, yeah. Absolutely. But he's already broke. He already won a World Cup last year.
Sure.
Yeah.
Winning, I could only imagine winning one's one thing and then winning a second one's another. Yeah. Okay. So kind of part two to this question is, I want to get the wording right on this. Who would you say has been top of their game? Who are the riders that have been up there and they've just plateaued a little bit and they're ready to go back up to the top?
Matt Walker.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
I think Mont-Saint-Anne, he had like the fastest split, every split in quali, fastest split, every split in semi. Then did he get a puncture or did he crash? In semi, didn't qualify for the final. That's like heartbreak.
It comes down to that format thing again.
Yeah, and I think he's a new team, fresh motivation. I think he'll be right back up there, sort of 22, 21 form.
Yeah,
hopefully.
From what I hear from a reliable source, he's enjoying the bike and he's
flying at the test track. Yeah, I think he'll have a good season. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Richie Rude's racing downhill, isn't he? So that's kind of an interesting prospect. He won the Worlds as a junior, so I think he's just dipped his toe at a few World Cups and done well. I think he'll definitely do some good results.
What about Danny Hart? I think we might see another couple from him.
Yeah.
Andorra was a solid ride in World Champs.
It was, yeah.
He's a bit of a World Champ specialist.
Yeah, I think, definitely. I think he's got a new team, obviously, and a solid program this year with Greg running things for him. So yeah, I'm sure Danny will do well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully the Brits get back up there. It's not.
Yeah.
Last year probably not the best year for the Brits in a while.
The Frenchies are dominating.
Yeah.
As they did
They go full podium, aren't they?
In the 90s.
On the days, on any day they could almost have a full podium.
So we've talked about World Cup races and who we think is going to do what. Let's talk a little bit more about domestic UK racing. So this is an interesting one. So what advice do you have for a young rider who's reached out and is after sponsorship from Burgtec?
Spell Burgtec properly when you send your CV in.
That's a start.
Yeah, that's a start. I think do some races, get a feel for things. You're not just going to get a sponsor straight off the bat. You've got to kind of put a bit of effort in yourself, go to a few races, get known. Get a relationship with your local bike shop. To be honest, that's how I got sponsored, through the local bike shop. First, they kind of give you a bit of help on some parts, do you a bit of a special deal, work on your bike for you, give you a jersey, whatever it is. Get a relationship with your local bike shop.
Use that as a stepping stone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't run before you can walk, sort of thing. Yeah.
That's the big one. Like, we get emails and I'll straight away jump on Roots and Rain.
Yeah, same.
And they've got 3 different brands of kit on, and it's dirty from the race weekend before, and they look a bit scruffy, and they're in 25th. So, well, I'm thinking that's cool because you're loving it, but you don't need sponsorship. Like, I always believe that maybe the sponsorship comes to you. What do you think?
Yeah, let the riding do the talking, for sure. People will come for you, for sure. You've got to get out there a bit and speak to people. But yeah, I think sponsors come. Yeah, for sure.
Dress well, get your kit matching.
Yeah, just all the basics. Be nice to people in the uplift queue. Be a good person. Be a good egg.
Yeah.
People get sponsored for different reasons, don't they? It's not
That's
always
true.
necessarily being the fastest. You might just be you might be mid-pack, even the slowest, but if you're representing Trailhead well or Burgtec well, and you're that go-to nice person who's always positive, upbeat, it's like...
Selling bikes.
Yeah, just getting people stoked, yeah.
Okay, this leads on to some listener questions. I've been looking forward to this bit. We put it... DC's cringing. No, they're good. So the best bit is the first guy's Instagram handle, Wet Bandit 75. So I'm assuming...
I know this guy.
Well, I know who the Wet Bandit is, obviously. It's Marv from Home Alone. So straight away I went on his Instagram to look at his pictures, and it looks just like Marv from Home Alone. So I was like, this guy's cool. He asked, if Burgtec had their own downhill World Cup team and you could choose 3 riders, who would you pick? Now I'm going to add a bit on the end of this, which is past, present, or future. Who would you... I tell you what, who would you pick now? Like, as in currently racing.
Oh, okay.
They don't have to be Burgtec riders. You need to be...
Yeah, Max Alran. Amory.
Cool.
And Pom Pom.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so...
That's basically the Muck-Off Common Soul team, isn't it?
They're obviously paying more. No, so who... So yeah, the bit I've added on is dream team then of people who aren't racing. And I'm going to chip in with mine after this, actually. Go on.
Josh, Palmer, me.
Too right.
From back in the day, someone like Kurt Vorez, I always used to like him when I used to watch the races.
He's still
From
super cool
He's
now.
still super cool now, yeah.
His Instas.
Yeah, and he kind of always just did well. He just did good. He was just on the podium here and there, and he kind of had a cool style and a cool vibe. And yeah, I just liked him. He had a good style. Palmer obviously needs no introduction. Josh neither. So
Yeah. Yeah,
About you?
I think I'd go Palmer. I'd have to go Steve. And I'd go Nico Volos.
think Palmer and Nico would get on.
I think they respected each other.
Yeah, maybe now.
Yeah, they both were doing it 2 different ways.
Yeah.
Right, that was cool.
It's funny that you see people who are at it with each other when they both raced, and now they're just big mates because the pressure's off. They don't have to race each other week in, week out. They don't have to build up some kind of internal hate to just beat that other person. They've matured and they don't race anymore, and they get on brilliant.
We haven't seen any rivalries recently, have we? Or perhaps you see it because you see the other side of the fence, but from like a punter watching World Cup racing, I don't see...
I'd say there's very little rivalry because it's just you on your bike against the track. There's a lot more admiration for each other and respect, definitely, because it's on you at the end of the day. It's not like motocross where you're going to park somebody up in a corner, or BMX or any head-to-head football, anything where you're battling man on man or woman on woman. It's not like that. With downhill, it's just you against the track. You've got to be the best, and people know what they put into it. They know the training they do, what they go through, injuries, comebacks, all that. So, yeah, I think people have that mutual respect.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Okay, listener question number 2 is from Brad Frost. This is a good question. Quite a one to be thought about, really. So Burgtec has scaled up rather fast and become a key household name in the industry whilst remaining core. What advice can you give for other aspiring entrepreneurs looking to start a brand in the bike industry?
Be yourself, be stubborn, be prepared for a few setbacks and stuff, just be resilient and just go for it.
Stick at it.
Stick at it, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky.
It's not a perfect road to it. You've just got to stick at it, yeah.
You've got to be passion driven.
You've got to be passionate as well, yeah.
Okay, good. Born Lomia asks, if you could erase one industry standard from existence, what would it be? And who would be most annoyed?
Is it an industry standard? I don't know, but the internal cable routing headset, putting cables through a headset, that is just crazy. I don't know who thought that up. They surely can't ride bikes.
Acros did.
Whoever.
I think they'd be annoyed.
Well, they...
Yeah, well, I tell you who wouldn't be annoyed. All of my mechanics that work here, they rejoice. Sam, who's producing this show now, think it would make his day today much happier. I saw him fiddling with one earlier. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it doesn't even look neat. It looks like some sort of cable growth out the head tube. It's not. It looks much neater coming in the sides. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's an e-bike thing, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so OD10, which in your opinion is your best product and why? We touched on this earlier. So best product and why. Doesn't have to be the best selling. So you said the pedal.
Yeah.
Why don't we go for the next one? What else?
Yeah, bars then.
Yeah.
Yeah, bars for sure.
When you
we started the 9 and 5 sweep thing, so yeah, bars for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our thing.
That's proud.
A lot of people have kind of taken that up and those kind of sweeps and rises, or sweeps and tip. But yeah, that would definitely be.
When you were making that bar, like, it's with a pedal, you can perhaps just get a test mule made and really test it. But making a bar is quite tricky.
It is tricky, but it's just similar. Yeah, we made a few prototypes and just tested. You know, we wanted something that was really relaxed, so that's why there's the 9 degrees back and quite like a flat feel on the top.
Mm-hmm.
Not up sweep on the top, like putting your elbows and like making you shrug your shoulders, like pan flat on the top and nice back sweep. Yeah.
And when you make a proto bar, does that come from your partners in Asia, from a vendor, or can you make the proto in this country?
No, it's made from. I mean, whenever we make a proto, we want it making by the people who are going to make it.
Of course.
So it's always made in Asia, yeah, by the people that are going to make it.
Because you're not just testing your numbers, you're testing the quality.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, cool.
And that needs to be a combination of machines and real world too.
Yeah.
The testing, yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we have covered the early days of Burgtec business, I guess. And we've covered your early days as a rider and getting into it. What's next for DC? So not Burgtec. What's next for Dan Critchlow?
What, this summer? Or
Yeah, let's talk this summer.
This summer.
Any trips?
Yeah, going to America in a couple of weeks to spend some time with our distributor out there, visit some customers, do that, and then going to go to Poland to watch the first World Cup too. So that's going to be good.
Is that XC as well?
I think it's just Enduro and Downhill Poland.
Okay.
Then Leo Gang after that will be at Leo Gang. We'll be doing Expo at Leo Gang. Obviously, when we go away, like you alluded to, we always like to poach a few days riding, and riding's always a thing for us. So for sure, we'll go to Leo Gang. Schlabning's just down the road, so we'll definitely be.
You love Schlabning?
Burning, yeah, we'll be burning some laps there for sure. So that'll be cool. And then after that, we'll go to the Alps in the summer.
Is this in the new van, or is the old one still running?
No, the old one. We sold the old one.
What was the? It was a Merc.
It was a Merc, yeah. A very rusty
Sprinter.
Yeah, had a lot of patina. It was way past patina, that one, yeah.
And what mileage did it have?
Probably about 200,000.
Wow.
But bizarrely, someone bought it because the bodywork on it was better than the bodywork on theirs.
Did a mountain biker buy it?
It was a motocross guy.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, hang on. So yours was better than theirs was?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And ours was seriously rusty, yeah. So we never should have sold it. We should have kept it.
Well, Mike Rose sold the old dirt van. That's still in Monmouth, I think. So.
Is it?
Yeah, that's
cool.
class.
Yeah, the red with the white dirt sticker.
Yeah, that's right up there with the Burgtec bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the kind of the motocross podcast that we both listen to, they're always talking about the old box vans and how people would pit out the back of that.
Yes.
When I hear that, I immediately think of your Burgtec wagon and the dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Good era.
Yeah, the van was. We had some excellent road trips in the van. We had some really good road trips around Europe, going all sorts of places. Yeah, it was sick. Good days.
Well, I've got a question for you that is a bit like a listener's question that I really want to know the answer to. Are you going to bring back hubs at some point?
We're under pressure. We're under pressure to do it, I think. The public pressure's getting pretty... it's getting a fair bit of pressure. So I think we will do that at some stage, yeah, for sure. Hubs, wheels, don't know what we'll do on that front yet, but definitely hubs, maybe wheels. Who
the
knows?
Pink camo...
Disco camo, snow camo.
Snow camo. That couldn't have been great for the the old environment?
No, we the reason we stopped those was actually we're making those camos and stuff. They were made in the UK, and the chemicals to make it got banned, so we couldn't carry on doing it. We didn't do the anodizing in house ourselves.
That's pretty in line with Burgtec, that the process was banned.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that just about wraps it up, really. Thank you very much for coming over today. It's been a great show. I'm just going to give some thanks to you for coming over, Sam for working the desk and holding things down in the corner. Freddie has been on the cameras today, so hopefully this is going to be up on YouTube as well as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Sadie has been taking some stills as well. And you guys for listening. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know I've been a little bit nervous today.
Yeah, same.
But we've got on with it. So in a few weeks, we're going to have our next guest, which we'll announce soon. But thank you for listening, and see you next time.